What is happening, YouTube? This is the H-Town Lockdown with your boy R Press, your one-stop shop for everything Houston pro sports. And today, we're going to talk about the Houston Astros, who will find themselves in first place in the American League West for the first time all season long. 2023 has been a season with adversity for the Houston Astros, but now they find themselves on top just by one game. But after a dominant, matter of fact, two dominant performances against rival Texas Rangers, has the Astros sitting pretty after the disastrous weekend where the Yankees swept them at home. Welcome to the show, everybody. This is the H-Town Lockdown. We're going to talk about the Houston Astros today. Tomorrow's episode will be more about previewing the Houston Texans and their matchup with the Baltimore Ravens to start the NFL season, week 1. But right now, let's talk about that American League West, which has been crazy this entire season. And the Texas Rangers have been in front and in charge most of the year. They've been in first place since April 8th, and they just lost it probably last week to the Seattle Mariners. And they were behind us as well, the Houston Astros. Now the Astros, for the first time this year, have taken sole possession of first place in the American League West. Still 22 games left to go, but this is a good sign. Shout out to the Cincinnati Reds, who came back down 6-3 in the 8th inning and walked it off. They scored 3 runs in the 8th from a 3-run home run. Then they walked it off in the 9th to win 7-6, beating the Seattle Mariners, winning that series because they took yesterday's game as well. So they've won 2 of the 3 games. Game 3 is tomorrow, but they've taken that series. The Mariners also lost the series against the Mets over the weekend in New York. Doesn't get any easier for them either. Up next, 4 games with the Tampa Bay Rays in Tampa. I told you their stretch was going to get harder for the Mariners, man. You know, they were beating up on Oakland and the Chicago White Sox and the Kansas City Royals and got on a hot streak. Now they're facing teams that are got something to play for, like the Reds. They're trying to make the playoffs in the National League. The Tampa Bay Rays is trying to catch Baltimore and win that division. It gets a lot tougher. They got the Dodgers in there as well. And 7 games with the Rangers coming up, 3 with the Houston Astros. It doesn't get any easier for the Seattle Mariners. As for the Texas Rangers, by the end of the night, they could be, and tonight is September 5th, they could be out of the playoff picture. They just got waxed by the Astros 13-6 Monday. And just now, Tuesday's game, they lost 14-1. They started Nathan Eovaldi, who has been on the IL since July 18th. Well, July 30th is when they put him on. July 18th was his last start. He had a forearm injury. He had no rehab assignment, and they threw him out there, and he did what probably you would expect a guy who hadn't pitched in a month and a half. He struggled. And this is a guy who's been their ace this year. They rushed him back. I mean, he should have at least probably gotten 2 to 3 rehab starts before getting back on the mound. But the desperation of this race and the desperation of losing ground to the Astros and the Mariners, the Rangers, hurried him back with no rehab start, and he lasted one in the 3rd inning. He gave up, I think, 4 runs. 2 of them were bombs by Jose Altuve. Let me take a minute to speak about this, man. I've said it before on the show. I'll say it again. This is the greatest Astro of all time. This man is a Hall of Famer. This man is a class act. And this man continues to be one of the most impressive athletes I've ever seen. He comes through when it's time to come through. He makes big plays on defense, and he makes big hits, home runs, RBIs, runs, steals, stealing bases. The man does it all, and he's consistent. Jose Altuve is great, man. So his first 3 at-bats, 3 home runs. all in 3 innings. His first 3 at bats were in the first 3 innings, and they were all home runs. This guy's on a heater because if you go back to the Monday's game, he had 2 home runs and he had hit 4 in a row, 4 home runs in a row before the 5th inning where he finally grounded out. Going back to last night's game against the Rangers, he had hit 4 home runs in a row. I think he had hit 5 out of 6 at bats before he grounded out in the 5th inning of this game. You talk about a heater. He was on a heater. He's on a heater. He's seeing the ball very well. Not just him. Alex Bregman is seeing the ball very well. Yordan Alvarez got into the party and got him a home run. Martin Maldonado got him not 1, but 2 home runs today. Man, the Astros were hot, man. Jose Abreu, 3 RBIs. It was just going around, man. It was going around, man. And you could tell that this team is starting to feel themselves offensively. But you know what? They do this all the time on the road. They've won 7 straight road games. They've been blowing teams out. If you go back to the Red Sox series and then Detroit, they've been blowing teams out on the road. The challenge will unfortunately be when they get home. For some reason, when they get home, the bats go cold, man. I don't understand it this year. Like I mentioned in the last pod, they're 35-34 at home. And they're 44-27 on the road. You know, at this point, it's like, man, gosh, let's play. Let's just wear the road jerseys the rest of the year. Let's pretend that we're on the road. How about we boo them at Minute Maid Park, man, to give them that mojo they need? Because on the road, this team looks like a World Series team. At home, they look like a team that doesn't even deserve to be in the playoffs. That's the stark difference from it. So hopefully they can get that solved, man. You got 22 games left. I think the majority of them are at home. I know there's a 6-game homestand coming up. 3 with the Padres are coming up after this series. But they got to get that fixed. But as far as this series with the Rangers, this was the biggest series of the year for the Astros, especially after coming off that sweep to the New York Yankees. Now they are in sole possession of first place. They have won the season series with the Rangers. They won it last night. They have 8 wins. The Rangers have 4. Last game of the season between these two will be tomorrow night. Max Scherzer versus Justin Verlander. Former teammates. Apparently, there might have been a little beef at the end of the Mets. At the end of their Mets reign there. The end of their Mets term. Scherzer left, pretty much demanding to leave. Verlander was okay with staying, but if he was going to leave, he was going to come to Houston. Now they're matched up in this series of the Silver Boot that the Astros have won. And let's see if Verlander can get us that 9th win of the year and sweep this series. As far as the outlook on the American League West, the Astros are in a good spot to take this division. Now, there's no guarantee. They're only 1 game up on the Seattle Mariners, and they're 2 games up on the Texas Rangers. They have lost the season series to the Mariners and won the season series with the Rangers. So if there's any ties, that comes into play. But you shouldn't have to worry about that if they handle their business. This team has been so good on the road. The only concern is when they go back home, man, which is really baffling to me. But there are supposed, this is Major League Baseball, this is the pros, this is the big league, so there really is no easy games, but supposedly the soft part of their schedule is coming up. They got the Padres coming in. You know, Padres are, along with the Mets, have been the biggest disappointment in the in Major League Baseball this year. So, Padres are up and down. They might give you a good game every once in a while, but they haven't been a good team. They also have the Royals, 2 series with the Royals, 1 in Kansas City, 1 in Houston, and the last series of the year with the Oakland A's coming up. Those are 4 series against teams that are under 500. 3 of them are at home. You've got to win those series. Not only you have got to win, you probably have to win. How many games is that? 3, 9, 13. You got to win 10 or 11 of those. 13 would be nice. All 13 would be nice, but you got to win 10 or 11 of those games in those upcoming 4 series. And that right there will probably put you over the hump as far as, or give you the edge as far as closing out this year and winning the division. Tough series with Baltimore is on the horizon. That's in Minute Maid. So we got a lot of games left at home. And at home has been really the bugaboo for the Astros this year. So maybe they're able to turn it around, maybe not. We will see. Hopefully they are able to handle their business at Minute Maid Park, man. What's the point in winning the division and getting the bye and getting the 2 seed if you're just going to drop the first 2 games at home in the American League divisional series? You got to start establishing some type of dominance at home, and hopefully that's what we see. I can't say that that's going to happen because I hadn't seen it yet. Hopefully it does happen, and this is the month to do it, headed into potentially the playoffs. I know it's just 2 games, and baseball's a long season, and there's ups and downs. I mean, when I was on here, my last pod on Sunday, I was questioning if we were going to make the playoffs after that sweep to the Yankees. Now I'm looking ahead and, feeling pretty good about it and feeling like, the division's finally in the possession of ours, and it's ours to win and ours to lose as well. So hopefully the Astros handle their business, man. That's what it's all about coming down this stretch. I like what I'm seeing. When Martin Maldonado gets 2 home runs, man, but they've had games like this. All you got to do is go back to the Boston series on the road and the Detroit series on the road. They've been pretty hot on the road, and they've had games like the 2 we've seen against the Texas Rangers this past 2. But it's, they've won this series. It's good that this was the biggest series of the year coming into it, and they've handled business, putting up 27 runs in both games, 13 and 14 respectively. They've been on a heater, man. Let's just hope that this continues. But finally, the Astros are in sole possession for the first time this year of the American League West, the division that they have dominated the past 6 years. Only time they didn't win it was in that COVID-shortened year in 2020. Oakland A's won it that year. But Astro fans feeling pretty good. Tell me how you feel in the comments. Let me know. Do you think we're going to take this division, these final 22 games? Are we getting our stride back? Are you feeling good about where the team's at? Starting pitching, the bullpen. Bullpen's got some rest. The bullpen has got a little rest the past couple of games because of these big leads that the Astros have jumped on the Rangers and had. So hopefully we can continue that tomorrow. Hopefully Verlander can go 6, 7, maybe 8 innings tomorrow. And we can take this series in a sweep and create a little bit more separation between us and the Mariners and Rangers. AL West is going to be fun, guys. Buckle up. Let me know in the comments who you got winning the division. Astros, Mariners, or the Rangers. As of right now, the Rangers are in danger of being outside of the playoffs by the end of the night. Toronto was only a half game back with this loss. They're tied. Toronto wins, they'll be a half game up because they play Oakland later on or right now. Matter of fact, let me go on and see what the score might, if I can get you guys a score. And see what the Toronto Blue Jays are doing, because they've been on a little heater as well. Dodgers lost tonight to the Marlins. Tough series for the Dodgers against the Braves. We'll get on that on another episode. Let's see. Where is the Toronto score? They're showing all the final scores. Toronto versus Oakland. Bottom of the 7th. Toronto's up 6-0. So it looks like unless the A's can get hot and get on get on a little streak these last 3 innings. Looks like Toronto will be in that final wild card spot, and the Texas Rangers will be on the outside looking in. Whew. Man, for a team that has been leading the division for 5 months to now in early September be on the outside looking in as far as the playoffs. 2 teams pass you in your own division. Now you're only 2 games out. It's not the end of the world. But it's an unfortunate look if you're a Texas Rangers fan. You can't feel good about this. You can't trust your bullpen. They've letting you down so many times, especially within this past month where the free fall started to happen. They've letting you down so many times. Starting pitching's been okay, not great, and this was the best offense in the league. Now they look, outside of Corey Seager, maybe Garcia. Mitch Garver's been kind of hot too. Who do you got? Simeon is he's been consistent. He's pretty good, but you need more. You need more from him. You need more from everybody. And the Rangers just have not been getting that type of production that they were getting throughout most of the year. So when the year started, a lot of people were questioning if they were going to continue this streak. Will they continue this? A lot of people didn't believe it. And, at some point I was like, well, at some point you got to believe it because they've been doing it for 5 months. Well, you get to August, mid-August, all the way now to early September, and they're not even going to be in the playoffs picture. If the season ended today, they'd be out. That's wild to me. So they're gonna have to do something. They're gonna have to dig deep and find something, or they'll be quickly out of this playoff picture. The only saving grace for them is that they need to keep their head above water. They got 4 games after this series with the Astros, 4 games with the Toronto Blue Jays. That could either sink you or swim you. Which one you want? Starting Thursday, 4 straight games in Toronto versus the team that just caught you in the wild card race. That right there is that's gonna probably determine where the Rangers end up at the end of this year. As far as the Mariners, I told you the schedule gets a little bit tougher for them, and we haven't even got to the meat of it yet, and they've already dropped 4 of the last 5 games. I told you it will get tough. They were feasting on the White Sox, feasting on they feasted on the Astros too. I can't say I gotta give them credit on that. They own the Astros, so I'm not saying that they're not a good team. I'm just saying that schedule was soft in August. It's about to get a little tighter. It's about to get tougher, and it already has. They couldn't get out of the Mets series with a win. They lost 2 or 3. They've already lost the first 2 against the Cincinnati Reds. Final game is tomorrow. Then they got 4 straight with Tampa Bay, followed by a battle with the Dodgers. It don't get no easier for them. So things looking up for Houston Astros. The problem is they have not taken advantage of any of these opportunities this year. This is the first time that they've been in first place. They've had ample opportunity, especially within the last 2 months, to get to this position, and they've fumbled it every single time. So not complete trust in the Astros. I'm just saying it looks a little brighter. We'll see if they can finally take advantage of it. All right, guys, I appreciate you joining me today. I will see you guys later on this week. As I mentioned, I got a Texans episode coming up on the H-Town Lockdown. Get us ready for week 1 against the Baltimore Ravens. Talk about the matchup. Talk about the scouting report, who's playing, expectations, things of that nature. Next thing after that, we'll talk about the Astros going into, see how they wrap this series up against the Rangers, and preview the Padres series coming up. Also, I got a college football episode on the Millennial Funk Sports Show coming up, as well as a week 1 picks episode that's coming out on Friday. So the college football episode will be coming out on Wednesday, and Friday will be the week 1 picks episode on the Millennial Funk Sports Show. So 2 podcasts, 2 shows, a lot of great content. Make sure you guys subscribe and keep it locked here. I appreciate it. Y'all have a good one.